crashing PC, black screen with colored outline. Specs i5 10600K, overclocked, okay, cool. And then it has a RTX 3070 overclocked, okay. 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4, 3200 megahertz, XMP profile is on, and MSI Z490 A Pro with 700 watt EVGA PSU. Okay, no, 700 watts should be fine. PC is currently restarting when loading into a new mission in a game or some sort of event like the bomb going off in CSGO. It is crashing to a black screen with some parts of the screen outlined in red, green, or blue. I reinstalled after reseating all components in PC Windows 10 a couple weeks ago, and this solved the problem for about a week. It usually occurs once every CSGO match. Wow. I wonder if it's a GPU issue or a power draw issue. The way it crashes with the screen outlining the UI before the crash is RGB is confusing. Thanks. Yeah. The fact that it's crashing with the screen going RGB, this is definitely going to be a graphics card issue. The fact that you reseated everything, had it going for a little bit, and then it happened with the issue. I mean, yes, you're looking at between a graphics card and a power supply issue. A 700 watt power supply should be enough to power that. I don't really see an issue with a 700 watt. Now, of course, he didn't say if it was bronze, silver, gold, platinum, whatever, but it still shouldn't. It should probably be somewhere around 400 watts, something like that, 450, 500, even with a 3070. Because I mean, that's what most 3070s draw in this kind of a situation. So I don't think that just the power supply alone may not be enough to power the graphics card, but it is one of the main things someone would check in this situation. So there's a couple ways to go about this. One, driver. So I would check and update the drivers and see if maybe that's an issue, or see that whenever you started having issues, did you update the driver? Generally, when it comes to NVIDIA drivers, you may have to upload or upgrade or downgrade depending on the situation. So if you look back and you see that the last time you updated the driver was the first time you had problems, you may need to go down to a different version and see if that fixes the issue. Ideally, with a 3070 though, it's probably not a version issue because the 3070 is relatively new. You run into those problems in earlier cards like 1080s and stuff like that. But if it's not a driver issue, then we're looking at either power or graphics card. Without swapping anything, the first thing I would recommend is taking your graphics card and plug it into another PCIe slot. That would be one of the quickest ways that I would troubleshoot, because that would eliminate the motherboard right there. For the most part, of course, if the other slot doesn't work, then of course it doesn't eliminate the motherboard, but it's something to change. So let's say we plug it into the different slot and everything starts working. Okay, well, you have an issue with your motherboard and the first PCIe slot may be having problems. So it doesn't matter what card you put in it, it's gonna have that same problem. So barring you have the exact same issue with plugging into the other PCIe slot, then I will look at the graphics card or power supply. With the graphics card or power supply, what you could do, this is a 10600K. This thing has integrated graphics. Just take out the graphics card. Just take it out, and then plug in an HDMI cable, and then start playing CS:GO on low settings, and see when the bomb goes off. Do you still have the problem? When the bomb goes off and you still have to be fair, this should work no matter what. I just thought about that. Like, it should work no matter what you do, because in this situation, there's no graphics card and there's not enough wattage to actually trigger the power supply. Now, here's the thing about power supplies though. If it was a power supply and you hit the minimum, it would just shut you down. It wouldn't freeze, it'll just go away. So the fact that it's showing you the screen makes me think more graphics than power supply. But of course, you can test with just no graphics card and see if that fixes the issue, or you can test in another slot. It sounds more like a graphics card issue or a power supply issue, and I was trying to give you options to choose from without having to go and replace or buy a graphics card or a power supply to try it out. But at this stage, I would say, yeah, I would go PCIe slot. I would go driver, then PCIe slot, then after PCIe slot, then I would try to look at maybe try a new graphics card or a new power supply. It's kind of interesting that it only happens when like things like bombs goes off or stuff like that, in only rare situations, but it happens every match, like it knows. Like it has a mind of its own and is thinking. So yeah, with this kind of a situation here, okay, cool, there we go. I'm just making sure the camera looks good. So with this kind of a situation here, yeah, I would just recommend to just try to look at the drivers, make sure there's no correlation with the drivers. Also, here's a new one, check event viewer. So go to event viewer and then hardware, and whenever you crash, see exactly what you crashed for. That'll be a good one, because the crash will actually show you whether or not you crashed for power or graphics card. There you go. That's what I would do. I would go that way. I would look at event viewer to see exactly why you crashed and then go from there, because both the graphics card and the power supply are hardware issues, and it would tell you whether or not it crashed because of that. It'll say like NV blah 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 blah, or it'll say like power or something like that. So I would try event viewer first and then go from there. Hopefully that helps.